April of 2010, we established an investigative unit to concentrate on unsolved cases, particularly violent crimes and missing person cases. One incident in particular, a February 1976 investigation involving a sexual battery of two sisters, piqued the interest of our cold case detectives. A DNA profile was identified and entered into the combined DNA index system in November 2011 and was ultimately matched to John Arthur MacLean. Unfortunately, we could not pursue prosecution because before July 1, 1976, the statute of limitations on sexual batteries was 2 years, and for armed sexual batteries, it was 4 years. Our cold case unit was undeterred and continued to investigate sexual batteries that occurred in the mid to late 1970s. They looked at cases with similar MOs, modus operandi, and found several possible crimes that fit the profile. One case occurred on October 16, 1976 at 11:30 p.m. The 15-year-old victim was babysitting at a neighbor's house in Boca Raton when she encountered an intruder who had a stocking over his face and pointed a handgun at her. He told her not to scream and no one would get hurt. The suspect fondled the victim on a patio, sexually battered her in a bedroom. On February 28, 1977, at about 8:30 p.m., a 26-year-old female just put her two young sons to bed when an intruder armed with a gun confronted her in the family room of her home. The suspect told her to cooperate and he wouldn't hurt her kids. He forced her into a bedroom where he sexually battered her. In December 2011, our detectives submitted a DNA analysis request to the Sheriff's Office lab for evidence in these cases. In August and September 2012, our detectives received reports from the lab which indicated that a DNA profile from both crimes matched John Arthur MacLean. Both victims later met with our detectives and confirmed the details of the original crimes. Last night, Broward Sheriff's Office Sergeant Floyd Baker located and arrested John Arthur MacLean. He was taken to the Broward County Jail and will be later transferred to Palm Beach County. MacLean is charged with 2 counts of armed sexual battery. Throughout the 1970s, there were common characteristics associated with numerous sexual battery cases in the Tri-County area. MacLean has become a person of interest in these cases. MacLean served time in Florida for a 1979 burglary conviction. After his release from prison in 1987, MacLean moved to Arizona, and he was there arrested for armed burglary, sexual exploitation of a minor, as well as several other crimes. MacLean received significant notoriety through the years. While he was serving time for the burglary conviction, he wrote a book titled Secrets of a Super Thief. He was also featured in a May 1992 People magazine article. Our cold case detectives are continuing to investigate unsolved sexual batteries from this time period and are also reaching out to other local law enforcement agencies to discuss cases outside of our city. Our detectives and prosecutors have had numerous successes since the inception of our cold case unit. They have solved the homicide of Nam Mendez, who went missing in February 2008 and was killed by Juan Carlos and Tanco Camacho. They arrested serial rapist John McKenzie, who was convicted in 2011 of raping 2 women in the 1980s. They also identified Michael Anthony Tolbert as a man who committed a 1981 armed kidnapping and armed sexual batteries. I want to highlight again that significant work went on aside from detective work. We have crime scene techs that did work, obviously in the 70s, collecting this evidence. Couldn't foresee that we would be where we are today. Evidence technicians that work with the detectives to locate evidence that has obviously, it's been several years since it had received attention.